Welcome everyone, one and all. This is the 12th episode of the Unbanned podcast, and we have one thing to say this week. Unban Leyline of Abundance. Don't actually do that. Pioneer's better without it, but... My name is Jake, and I'm here with all of the crew today. Jordan.
We're doing this in the opposite order?
Oh, no. Yeah, we are.
Hi, I'm Jordan.
And Justin.
And I'm last this week.
And I always like to keep them on their toes by introducing them in opposite order. We're going to talk about some magic.
It's random. Nothing about this podcast is consistent.
We're like the possibility storm of podcasts.
We're like the standard of podcasts.
We're like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Ban list of podcasts.
And we're going to be talking about some magic this week if we're not too busy taking shots at other card games. We got a lot to talk about this week as far as standard goes. Oko, surprise, surprise, has hit the ban list. Imagine that.
What?
Nobody saw that coming. Not even one person could have seen that coming.
No one.
Did you hear Oko got banned?
Standard is free to go back to being terrible.
Back to being the mono red menace.
And thankfully, we actually have some tournament results already, thanks to a lovely little Twitch Rivals tournament that just popped up out of nowhere. We also got Historic this week. We have a few decks that I've been kicking around with we'll talk about. And then there was this really weird teaser that WotC released, and we'll touch on that there at the end. For now, guys, does someone want to catch everyone up on the banned and restricted announcement for this week?
I didn't read the whole thing, but I can go through what was banned. Oko is gone. Veil of Summer is also gone. And Once Upon a Time is also gone. And good riddance to all of those cards. Veil of Summer made it harder for me to play decks that run counterspells. And Once Upon a Time just added a bunch of consistency where green didn't need it. And Oko is Oko. So thank you. Thank you for that.
And don't forget about the other formats.
Oh, that's right. Wrenn and 6 got banned in Legacy.
Oko also got banned in Brawl.
That should have been done sooner.
And Narset Part of Veils is restricted in Vintage.
All good changes, I think. Wrenn and 6 in Legacy was particularly obnoxious. It punished all the Delver decks, but was also played in the Delver decks, and bringing back Wasteland over and over again is very, very powerful.
All I'm saying is I was safe. I play like 18 snow-covered plains in my deck.
Yeah, if you're playing mono-white D&T, then you're pretty safe in that matchup. Although your Thalia just keeps getting hit by Wrenn and 6 over and over, so that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's a 3-cost Wrenn and 6. I showed them.
Wrenn and 6 is $64.
I saw that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The banning dropped the price, didn't it?
I can get my play set for $240, and Christmas is coming up. I'm so excited.
You know what you're getting under that tree from me.
You know what you're going to get him for Christmas, Jordan? A nice pat on the back.
I'll get him a Wasteland, but no Wrenn and 6 for Jen.
But seriously, the most important banning of Oko in Brawl.
Honestly, I think that one was the least surprising, because they had already banned it on Arena, and I don't think they want separate ban lists for Arena and Paper Brawl, so...
And I mean, that one just makes sense because you just turned your opponent's commander into an elk over and over.
Hope you have a sack outlet, otherwise you're never getting your commander back.
Yeah, I referenced this before, the man who queued up with nothing but lands and Oko, and everyone just conceded, and he got through the Brawl event undefeated.
This is the thing that's crazy to me, is like, I'm kind of surprised that Oko wasn't just banned on the outset of the Brawl events and Brawl being a thing, because it's obvious what it does. We've seen what it's doing in Standard. You really don't need to gather data from the Brawl event to see that Oko should not be in that format.
Yeah, they want to be careful because they don't want to upset anyone who bought into it or wants to play it. I feel like at this point, Oko's just going to get the Gataxian Probe treatment, where it's going to be restricted in Vintage and banned everywhere else because it's just not acceptable. Like, the modern banning, I think, is coming for him, and he needs to be banned in Historic as well, and he's really not that much fun to play against in Legacy either.
This is something that kind of surprised me, and it might be a good way to move on from the bans, because I get the feeling no one really has a lot to say about him. Once Upon a Time was unexpected for me, but I'm not sad it's gone, and I'd be surprised if anyone else was sad it was gone.
I think the only people who are sad by the Once Upon a Time banning are the people who bought their playset.
I'm a little sad because I was going to try to play Temur Phoenix in Standard, kind of like that Temur Phoenix Pioneer list does. But then, I mean, I can just play regular Phoenix now because the format's open again, so I don't care. While Standard is now opened up, meanwhile in Historic, it seems like the best thing to be playing is just Oko again. I queued up with just Sultai food, not many changes, just added in checks to go with the shocks. And I won. I had a couple people that the moment Oko hit the field, they just conceded.
It's kind of disheartening because I was really excited for Historic. Everyone already knows I was already excited for Pioneer, and I've been playing that quite a lot. Historic's kind of like Pioneer, but I get to play it on MTG Arena, so I don't have to use MTGO. It's not like Pioneer, though. It actually ends up being exactly what we feared Historic was going to be, which was extended, kind of. Like, it's basically just all the gross standard decks that were happening over the past couple of years, except it has a few things you can do with the Historic Anthology cards. And Oko's still one of the best things to be doing. It's insane.
Yeah, also, Goblins in that format, not as good as I would have hoped. It's getting just destroyed every time I queue up with it.
I had a good amount of success with my list that I posted on Twitter. It's not the best thing to be doing, for sure. I expected Elves to be better in that format too, but it's just not consistent enough, even with Once Upon a Time.
Justin, have you been brewing any jank in Historic? Anything cool?
No, actually I got a little frustrated by the event. Played my first game with my old mono white list and faced against mono red and I was like, this is all that's going to be played, isn't it? So I made a mono white life gain deck and then proceeded to dumpster everyone.
I have legitimate concerns about mono white Soul Sisters and the idea that it might be just way too good. I mentioned last week that I thought Sarah Ascendant is a little bit too powerful without good efficient removal. Basically, if you don't kill it the turn it comes out, in my experience, it will be a 6/6 very quickly. There's a lot of life gain that you probably forgot existed in this format, and you can make that thing powerful really fast.
Yeah, one thing I didn't realize was in this format is there's a redundant piece for the... I don't remember the name of the card, but when...
Impassioned Orator?
Yes, Impassioned Orator.
Yep.
It's a redundant piece for the other enters the battlefield, gain a life card. So they can stack up pretty quickly, and Mono White Weenie was a good deck in Standard about a year ago. So they're building off of that and just adding the life gain theme. So it's pretty powerful. I underestimated it, for sure. I haven't had too many problems with it because I play 4 copies of Shock in all my decks. But the thing is, it is very strong. If they get ahead of you, it's very hard to get back in the game, or they'll just kill you on like turn 3 or 4.
I just want like one Skull Crack.
I made an oopsie when I was playing too. I forgot to put Sarah Ascendants in my deck. I also didn't have rare wild cards.
Well, why?
And I still beat people very convincingly.
Why didn't you just buy the whole anthology?
Because I didn't want to pay for it yet. I needed my check to come in, man.
Oh, all right.
Fair enough. I just bought it immediately because I got paid this week. No problems, just bought all of them.
I didn't have gems.
Historic's kind of crazy and a mess, and like, if you want to grab some lists, I posted some on the Patreon. There's one on my Twitter. Check out Arena deck lists. They're retweeting Historic deck lists too. But it's kind of a weird format, and it's like, it really is. It's like when they released Pioneer, it's just everything under the sun is getting tried right now. So if you're into that sort of thing, it's a good place for you to try new things.
I've personally been loving it. I really enjoy just being able to try a little bit of everything. The problem is that I think the best deck is probably still just blue-green, like blue-green ramp, but we'll get that sorted. I'm sure there'll be some bans coming up for Historic, or maybe Historic they want to be more like a Vintage where it's open, and they just are going to introduce things to the format to try to combat the decks. I don't know.
They said they were going to have a little bit more fun with it since it's online only. They can have new cards introduced that are a little bit crazier and ban a little bit more efficiently.
Also, I do want to point this out. I played one deck after I finished my event. I played Affinity. Watch out for that.
Is Affinity awesome?
Voltaic Servant is back.
Ooh.
and can untap your Steel Overseers 3 times a turn.
That might be kind of fun to mess with. I've also seen Field of the Dead with Golos came back. That seems very powerful.
The most powerful deck I played against was a Field of the Dead deck, but it wasn't Golos, as far as I could tell. It really didn't care about actually finding Field of the Dead.
It was Scape Shift, probably.
It was not Scape Shift. There was never a Scape Shift. I played against it 3 rounds. It was, as far as I could tell, 5-color control with Oko.
And Field of the Dead is an all-to-win con.
Yeah, and Field of the Dead. And it just seemed to run every good removal, every Thought Erasure, Cast Downs, every good removal spell that has ever been printed in this format was in this deck.
You know, with mana being so good in this format, because you can run a bunch of shocks and checks and then also Fabled Passage with a few basics in there, I wonder if it's possible to just run 5-color Niv Mizzet, like Control.
It's possible, yeah. You could probably do that. Just draw 7.
Or just play 5-color lands like that person was doing. Seems like there's a lot you can do with this format as far as that. So far, the format's pretty interesting, at least. Aside from just, it's Oko again and Field of the Dead. Everything below that seems like a lot of interesting decks are being played, but it's you gotta get past those two, because I've seen a couple Field of the Dead decks as well, and they're very powerful.
Hot tip from Jake. If you're playing monocolor in this format, be sure to bring 4 Field of Ruin, because a lot of the time you'll hit a 3-color deck and they literally run 0 basics. While Historic is looking pretty good, I think the big story of this week was definitely Standard. There's been a lot of shifting in that format since the bans on Monday, and there was even actual tournament results from it. Twitch Rivals happened, I was in it, and the format's looking really good, actually. I played Bant Ramp in the tournament, I've played Mono Red, I've played Esper, Hero, I've played Is It Phoenix? I've played lots of decks, and they all seem pretty viable.
Yeah, when you take off the head of the format with the big green decks, it seems like everything else is just still sitting there at being pretty good. So if you bring everything down to pretty good, then everything else actually has a chance, it seems like.
Yeah, if you take out Oko, then you realize that there are Fire's Invention and Cauldron Familiar.
And still Phoenix. Yeah, if you look down the list, it's like you've got Golgari Adventures, Jund Sacrifice, Mono Black Sacrifice, Rakdos Sacrifice, Jund Sacrifice, Gem Sacrifice, Rakdos Aggro, and all of those run Cauldron Familiar, which I really dislike. That's my biggest problem with this format. I hate the cat. It's not ban worthy. It's just really annoying.
If you are playing the cat oven combo in your Rakdos aggro list, you are playing aggro wrong.
Let's see if this guy was. Hold up. Yeah, I misspoke. This lone Goifer. His Rakdos aggro list doesn't have it, but there's a lot of sacrifice, basically.
I think that it's just what people kind of jump to, because the cat lists were doing pretty well in the Oko era. I tried to pick a list, Bant Ramp, that was good before Oko and see if it could come back. Don't play Bant Ramp. It's not very good right now.
What's the matter with it?
You need a lot of setup time, which the format isn't allowing you right now. You just don't have the same kind of ability to kind of throw out a Llanowar Elves, throw out a 2-drop ramp, and then just resolve Nissa, and that's good enough. Even though Nissa's still in the format, and she's still really powerful if you throw her down on turn 3, she usually doesn't live after that. People are still packing a lot of Noxious Grasps and just Murderous Riders, ways to kill Nissa. So a lot of time your big payoff for playing a bunch of ramp is dead when you play it. If we reach the part where Fires of Invention is the way to go, it might be better to play Bant Ramp, but even then they kind of just go over top you.
I find Jeskai Fires to be a kind of frustrating matchup to play. I'm not sure. I don't think that it's too busted or anything, but I'm getting a little tired of getting hit for 18 in the face. I think my decks need a way to deal with that.
I don't even think the fact that they can deal damage quickly is the problem. It's the redundancy. Aside from the Cavaliers they're using to kill you, they just run like draw spells and like walkers and ways to find fires of invention. So even though I've been playing Esper Hero a lot recently, and I have D-Spark, I have Dovin's Veto, I don't let them resolve fires, but they still have Cavaliers, and my deck is not quick, so they just play their Cavaliers and find another Fires of Invention or kill me that way.
Yeah, things are interesting right now. I mean, I like that deck for the most part. I think it's interesting. I don't like playing it because I don't like only being able to play at sorcery speed. That's like the antithesis of me as a Magic player is, oh, you only get to play at sorcery speed.
You get to cast only 2 spells a turn, and you have to cast sorcery speed.
That is the exact opposite of what I like to do as a Magic player.
Here's the funny thing. It's actually not sorcery speed. You can play at instant speed. You can only play on your turn, though.
True. So you can counterspell if they try to stop you from casting, but you can't.
Defensive counterspells I've seen in the list, and I'm like, why are they there? And it's so that they can play their Fires of Invention on 5 and then defend it with Mystical Dispute.
Let's see. Any other spiciness? I mean, I'm interested in is it Phoenix and is it Flash in this top 32. I like that both those were actually playable enough to make it to the top of the tournament.
I'm still just sad I didn't play my version of Is It Flash, which I just called Is It Tempo.
You guys and your tempo.
Love tempo. For Gadwick. Oh man, I need to play this list. Yeah, there's also someone who's still playing Simic Ramp. It's streamer by the name of Traffic, and it looks like it's literally just Simic Ramp as it was before Oko, with Cavalier of Thorns and Risen Reef coming back in the list, and then Leafkin Druid to trigger those, which I think is interesting. I love Risen Reef. And then Quasi Duplicate to make those even better.
So this is actually, like Jordan said, not a new list at all. Andrea Mangucci actually put out an article about Simic Quasi Duplicate months ago, and the list didn't really catch on. If you have not had the experience of someone playing an Agent of Treachery on like 4 or 5, depending on how good their start is, and then quasi duplicating it the next turn twice because they have that much mana and quasi duplicate has jumpstart, I have so much fury at this list. And I played it for a bit. It's really quite good, actually. You have a lot of power in your cards. There's a lot of redundancy to the list. But Agent of Treachery just makes it like one of the most annoying decks to play against because they just steal your entire board.
I kind of want to play it just because
it's good, man. I think it's really good, actually.
Yeah, I kind of dislike Agent of Treachery but stealing people's things is just fun. I just like it when it's played against me because it sucks to be on like turn 4 and then your opponent has ramped to an agent and they take your land and you're on turn 3 and you're just like, well, I'm out of this game, I guess.
You can't really get 7 mana on turn 3, but turn 4, definitely, you can do it.
Yeah, if they're on the play and they play a Nissa on turn 3, yeah, they definitely have enough to agent on turn 4.
Oh, I completely forgot to mention why Leyline of Abundance is our ban. There's a lot of ways that you could also use Leyline of Abundance to kind of that you can use to make the Simic Ramp decks quicker. And that card as well, I think hasn't really been exploited in Standard. But in Historic, my Elves list plays 4, and you can make an obscene amount of mana. I've played Endray's Forerunners on turn 3 once, and it was disgusting.
And that's why I caught the Banhammer and Pioneers, because you could just power things out insanely quickly, and the big mana was not something that the rest of the format could deal with.
Well, especially with the London Mulligan, you usually just find it. So I'm curious to kind of try and exploit it a bit more in Standard.
I do wonder because there's one thing that I'm not seeing in a lot of these lists, and that's a Teferi. One of the biggest problems with Leyline was it getting bounced with Teferi. So I wonder if it's something that's a little more viable now.
I don't know. I've been trying to break that card for a while, back in my Hydra's days of when we started this podcast.
Well, I think your issue isn't the card, it's the Hydras. Your payoff isn't very good.
Yeah, fair enough.
Making a big creature is just not as good as stealing your opponent's lands.
You ain't wrong there.
It's an expensive land destruction spell, but it is a land destruction spell.
It's even better than land destruction because, yeah, you are taking their land. You're gaining mana and they're losing it.
What if you just played Temur land destruction? Like, not really destruction, but Agent of Treachery, and then the land destruction spells we do have.
I could brew that up with a bunch of copies.
That could be cool. I honestly kind of want to use the flicker effect from Ixalan in Historic to just flicker Agents of Treacheries over and over again.
Well, Charming Prince is also busted.
Yeah, Charming Prince on Agent of Treachery.
Yeah, if you wanted to maximize the stealing of your opponent's stuff, you could definitely do that. But I wonder if it's worth it after you do drop an Agent of Treachery. I wonder if it's worth it to not just play Anissa and hit them in the face until they're dead.
Well, there's actually a lot of reasons you'd want to bounce your Agent of Treachery. Back when Field of the Dead was legal, I was brewing up Bounce House with Charming Prince because if you get 3 things from your opponent stolen, it draws you 3 cards on your end step. And one of the issues I was having was after taking Field of the Dead, I just kind of languish and make small amounts of zombies and only draw 1 land a turn, and I wanted to turn on Agent of Treachery. Well, if you steal more stuff from them, then it's on, and then you'll start drawing cards.
So maybe that's where we go, because we were talking about Standard, and now we're looping back towards Historic, because that just makes me want to go play Unbanned Ramp in Historic.
Unbanned Ramp in Historic seems gross, especially since you have Oko still. You don't even have to play a main board, just throw them in sideboard for when you're up against a creature matchup.
I would still probably play a main board, but to stay on Standard, there's a lot of things going on here. I'm also seeing further down here Azorius and Esper coming back, Gruul mid-range still, so Standard's looking pretty sweet, right?
Oh, hey, there was a Standard PTQ.
Oh yeah? What was in it?
Fires, Golgari Food, Fires, Jund Food, Golgari, Fires, Jund Food, Mono Red.
Dang, it looks like, if you look at this tournament, it looks a lot less open. There's still 4 or 5 decks here, but it looks like Fires is the big leader alongside Jund Food.
I think Fires is exploitable. You can stop this deck. You just have to do it. Teferi's a big part of it, though.
Yeah, if you play a Teferi and you bounce their Fires Invention a couple turns in a row, it gets very rough.
Jordan, put in some sirens right here. Alert, this is Jake's finance tip of the week. Sphinx of Foresight is showing up in Jeskai Fire's list. Buy them now, they're only $2.
Oh god.
What in the world is a Sphinx of Foresight?
It's the card that's gonna shake up Modern forever.
Yeah, if you have it in your opening hand,
scry 3.
If you have it open in your opening hand on your first turn, you get a scry 3 on your first upkeep.
Wow, I have been playing Storm for a while, and I have thought before, what if I could scry at my upkeep?
Well, I'm just glad I'm not the standard format, or else I'd be shook.
Who could have had the foresight to see this coming?
You guys are terrible.
But okay, so I want to know though, why are they playing Sphinx of Foresight?
To more consistently find Fires of Invention, as well you can just set up your turns so you actually get the combo more often. It's really silly, and playing a 4/4 with flying with your Fires of Invention out is pretty good. It also lets you scry on your upkeep if it's on the field, so that's pretty good.
Makes sense, okay.
It's not a bad card, it's just annoying.
So it looks like the Jeskai Fires lists are kind of going full combo. They can play a mid-range game, but really they're mostly going for the Cavalier of Flame combo.
Maybe Azorius controls where you want to go from here, because they don't really have a lot of ways to interact with the stack aside from their Teferi.
I know where I'm going to go. Is it Flash? Oh yeah.
So, Jordan, are you going to start putting Sphinx of Insight in your Is It Phoenix decks?
I think that one of the things that Is It Phoenix in every format was missing was just a little bit more consistency. So, despite the fact that Sphinx of Foresight isn't a spell, doesn't work with spells, and is a 4-drop that would make it hard to cast things, I think I'm going to put it at all my lists.
I got you. Remove Crackling Drake from the standard version entirely, replace them with Sphinx of Foresight.
I love the way you're thinking right now.
I would say remove 3 Drakes and 1 Phoenix for a play set of...
I don't need the 4th Phoenix, right?
You put it in sideboard to tutor with your wish spells.
No, we're sitting here memeing over something that was literally only in our LGS. I don't think anyone else looked at Sphinx of Foresight and went, yeah, this is really going to see some play, you know?
That's not true. That is not true.
By the way, in our LGS, people saw Sphinx of Foresight and put it in everything. Every combo deck in Modern, they were like, wow, this could be a 4 of, and then it saw no play, which we all told them would happen.
I have a better way to scry 3 in Fires of Invention decks.
What's that?
Mulligan.
Okay, let's move on. This has gone down the rabbit hole of, oh, how good is scrying and Magic on your first... Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to another mystery. A greater mystery than whether or not Sphinx of Foresight is the best card in Magic. What in the heck is Lair of Secrets?
It's just a 250 card set where it has 250 Sphinx of Foresight.
I know what's in Lair of Secrets. Are you ready? Lair of Secrets is the replacement for Master Sets, okay? They are going to continually reprint cards that don't need to be reprinted in it, like Tree of Perdition.
So Secret Lair is going to be a yearly release where they reprint 15 cards in foil with a theme based around them.
It's just become like a meme that every product Wizards releases will just be ineffectual for the secondary market and won't be what players actually want. I think that's why the mystery boosters were like so infuriating to some people, is it just felt like kind of a spit in the face of like, oh, you want products that matter? Puh. You don't get products that matter. Here's this random set. I can't help but wonder if like Lair of Secrets is gonna be a similar thing where they're like, what players want is obviously these goofy fun sets. And it's like, yes, we want those, but the problem is that's all you're giving us.
Hey, Eldraine had a lot of good cards in it, okay? So
they do 4 booster sets a year that are getting... They're really powerful, guys. They're not bad sets. Except for Throne of Eldraine's like Oko and Once Upon a Time problems. Those were pretty bad. But for the most part, the sets are actually good. They're powerful, which is more interesting than having boring sets. But it's all of the like stuff around those sets that are just kind of going crazy recently. And I remember a lot of people saw Mystery Boosters come out and they were like, why is this happening? Why would you release this? And that's the reason, is it's the people who are looking at sets and being like, where are my modern cards? Or like, where are my modern reprints? Where do I fit into this, basically? And I don't think they feel like they have a place in the Magic ecosystem right now.
as far as reprints, I agree with you. I think that is the case. I think part of the problem is that having powerful sets is good, but the most recent sets have been a little bit too far. Just there have been a lot of legacy and modern playable cards. But I don't want to go too far off on a tangent about the secondary market. I'd like to speculate a little bit about what Lair of Secrets is, which we haven't even touched on yet. So I will explain. Lair of Secrets is a set or product that we have no idea what it is, very similar to the mystery boosters, that all we have for it is a name and a trailer, and they have said that it will be, they've alluded to it being a customizable experience. It's specific to each player somehow, and I have no clue how that's supposed to work. I'm intrigued, but also kind of worried, because that sounds really vague and sounds like a gimmick that couldn't ever possibly work.
This is the problem, is like, I'll be honest, guys, I don't want a customizable set. I just want good Magic cards.
You know what would be great? So I basically predicted the mystery boosters in one of our first episodes. I will take full credit for that. But
very impressive.
I'm going to be honest here. It would be hype if this was just the third conspiracy set.
That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool.
I'd be alright with that. my biggest problem is not like them doing goofy sets or interesting sets or things more casual. It's that the things that they're doing that are more casual, like Game Night, the Game Night series. What's another good example?
You can just
Explorers
say
of Ixalan.
Explorers of Ixalan. Those types of releases, like, they do nothing for me. And I understand that I can just buy the base booster boxes, but Standard also hasn't been doing anything for me because I just play on Arena all day. I just realized, like, I haven't bought a physical box of Magic cards in probably a year.
well, I mean, there's no point to. We don't booster draft by ourselves. There's no point to opening them because it's not worth the money. We just buy the cards we need for decks, and we don't really play that much Standard anyways, so why would we want to speculate on getting cards out of a box?
I used to buy the side stuff. I'd buy Challenger decks. I bought the guild kits. I'd buy the side stuff like the dual decks and from the vaults. But they've eliminated those products.
I think this is part of them trying to reintroduce stuff like that as well. Because they decided From the Vaults didn't really work because apparently they always had to have a theme.
And now they're doing the Spellbook series, which has a theme of planeswalkers. And there's only so many planeswalkers.
Signature Spellbook Oko.
Yeah, and this is the thing, is this is kind of the problem with setting up a mystery, is that when you put a mystery box in front of people and let people imagine what could be in it, sometimes, well, they're actually not even sometimes, they will immediately go for the most ridiculous thing. They start dreaming. And that's good for driving press, but it can lead to a lot of disappointment. And I think that's what some people had with the mystery boosters. For me, I'm excited for that. I can't wait to go to a Magic Fest and draft that. Or just buy it myself and draft it, because it sounds like so much fun to me. For someone who wants reprints, they want stuff that's competitive, or they want stuff for like their commander deck, the mystery booster isn't for them. And that's kind of the danger of having a variety of products, is that you're going to miss some people.
That's what I'm saying, though, is I don't think they're actually providing a variety of products. They are throwing products onto the market that appear to have variety, but they are not actually a variety of products. They are hitting the same market. They are hitting like this kind of casual market. I don't really think that the market for mystery boosters exists. Like, there are people who are fine with them and want to play them, but I don't think it's an actual market. I just think that's Magic players. I think that beyond the people being outraged that there's not Scalding Tarns in them, there's a massive amount of people who want to draft those things. I want to draft them too. Like, I'm going to pay for the product and play it, but there's a difference between me playing them once and me playing them every Friday down at the shop.
I would agree with you. I don't think most people will draft mystery boosters multiple times. I will, because the idea of a chaos draft really appeals to me, because I love drafting and I love things like Cube. But a lot of people will probably play it once and then move on to the next thing. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but that seems like what a lot of their products end up being anyway, is like the standard sets when they come out. A lot of people go to a pre-release for a standard set and then they don't touch Magic again for a while.
But that's not really like the core audience. I don't think that those are the people that you should market to primarily.
I would agree, but I'm just saying that some people will like it. As far as Lair of Secrets, I don't know what it's going to be. I can speculate. I'm kind of thinking it has something to do with Ikoria. Because a Lair of Secrets sounds like, I don't know, like a big cave that you could put a big monster into. Or make gigantic monsters.
It's also really weird because they announced this thing by showing a dark video of the Wizards HQ.
Yeah, that was kind of odd. It's interesting. I don't know why they would do that.
Maybe I need to go over the video more. Maybe it has a hidden detail or something.
Pleasant Kenobi mentioned on Twitter that he thought the end little thing sounded Phyrexian, so maybe it has something to do with that.
It's interesting, and I think that my overall attitude towards it is I hope this isn't mystery boosters again, because they are marketing it in a very similar way, and I think that mystery boosters existing is fine, but you've got to give us more. Give spiky players like me a product I want to buy that is not a booster pack. There's none. There are only booster packs. I want to buy a guild kit again. I want to buy a self-contained experience that has cards I will play outside of it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't disagree. I do agree that if this is a lot like mystery boosters, a month after we just got the mystery boosters thing, that's a little weird.
I very much doubt that's going to be similar to mystery boosters in the actual product. I think the packs or decks or whatever they're releasing will not be similar. Its marketing is similar enough that I'm kind of like, is this another mystery booster? What is this?
Yeah. What is your take on the Lair's secrets, Justin?
I mean, I said my hopeful one, which is that it's another conspiracy set. But I may be wrong, but I thought I heard something about isn't there a flashing image or something like that on the trailer?
Yeah, it's projected on a car, I believe.
I think that was supposed to be artwork for a card in the whatever this is, the set, the product.
Pause for a second. Let me watch this trailer again. I need to type.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again too, just so
let's do it together.
Oh, Secret Lair.
Whoops.
Wait, hold up. We've been saying this wrong the entire time. What? I didn't realize it's a reference to an unhinged card.
Was it really?
Yeah, it's R&D's Secret Lair.
Yeah. That's the reason I'm concerned about it being another mystery booster, is it references R&D's Secret Lair, which they also referenced as kind of some of the inspiration for the test cards for the mystery boosters.
You know the thing that I immediately thought of while we're sitting here speculating? Is someone mentioned that the glitch at the end felt very Phyrexian. It was, I believe I mentioned it was Pleasant Kenobi. And that immediately made me think of, who's the Red Praetor, the name of it?
Urabrask.
Urabrask is the hidden, and they live underground. That sounds like a secret lair. I don't know, just an idea. And the teaser frame, the frame that people have taken from the teaser trailer, it looks very Phyrexian, or like a sliver almost. I don't know. We'll have to see though.
Watch it just be a tease for the next Phyrexian standard set where they finally use the Golgothian Silex.
The most important thing in all of the Magic story.
I want to reference this as well. I found the tweet where they talk about what it actually is. It's the follow-up tweet says it's not a booster, but it is a layer, an MTG secret layer even. Referencing again that we said layer of secrets, it's secret layer. Anyway, in this case, a layer is a pre-made box just for you and the very particular things you love about Magic. So I think what it is you get to build your own box, like a pre-made box. That's the only thing I can take that tweet as meaning, is how are they going to make a box for me specifically and know what I like about Magic? Well, I would have to order it and fill out an order form, and then they would give me a secret layer box with I would put a lightning bolt in it, a Chandra, stuff like that. I don't know, maybe that's it. That's really weird and far-fetched, and like I said earlier, not really that viable. Jake, what do you think it is?
I think this is their answer to reprints. That's the only thing I could think of, is a customized box of what I want. Well, what do I want? I want Renin 6 and Lily for my Jund deck. I want lands for my standard decks. That's what I would ask for in my own personalized box. It doesn't really fit what Wizards does as far as products. If they were to do a customized box, they would ask me preferences what's my favorite color? What type of decks do I want to play? And then they would give me cards based on that. They wouldn't actually ask me for what I literally want in the box. So it's probably what you were thinking, where you answer some questions about you as a Magic player, and they give you cards tuned to that.
Which could be kind of fun. I wonder if I'm right about that or not. Because it just seems like that would be such a logistics nightmare to do. Unless it was like a digital only product, which I can't see them doing with how it's announced. I was kind of a little off the way they're marketing this because it's so similar to the way they did the mystery boosters. But, I mean, it's working.
Reminds me of an ARG.
Yeah, it's getting us intrigued.
Yeah, this ARG or this mystery box style of marketing, it's getting people talking about it. People are interested.
I just realized, sorry, I was looking at one more thing that I'm not going to post because it's a trippy image, but it's getting revealed tomorrow as the recording of this podcast.
So you all will listen to this podcast and know exactly what happened. So, be interesting, I guess.
All right, let's wrap up.
Can I just mention before we end the show, and I'm going to leave this in, I have no clue how I'm going to edit this episode because we got so derailed talking about Secret Lair because we got distracted by their dang marketing scheme because we started looking at all the teaser images, trying to figure out what this thing is so that we could talk about it.
Wizards is not making our jobs easy, that's for sure.
Stop, Wizards, please. My editing.
That's enough speculation from us this week. We're going to say goodbye and get back to playing Standard for me because I've got to get to Mythic still.
I'm going to get to Mythic and Historic just by playing Blue-Green Ramp.
You guys got this. I believe in you.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate you, man.
All right. That Justin guy is dubious_Justin on Twitter, dubious_Challenger on Twitch and YouTube. Jordan is It Fox literally everywhere. Google him, look him up on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you want to see him. He's there and doing awesome things. And I am Jake the Jackal everywhere. Just look me up. I'm on Twitch pretty much every week. Was on Twitch Rivals earlier this week. Check out my stream. We have a lot of fun. As well, we have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/unbannedcast. If you donate even $1, you get full access to every Patreon post, every early access post, raw recordings of the episodes, and bloopers we upload. Check it out, guys. But aside from that, I think we're pretty much tapped out. But we do have one more thing to say. Ban Leyline of Abundance, because really, it's just, wow, that card.
Also, Secret Lair is secretly just alpha, but again, we're rebooting the entire game.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Don't actually ban Leyline of Abundance. It's fine.
Bye-bye.